Hello and welcome to Lesson 1. In this lesson, you will learn the basics of a trick and the common rule of following the lead suit. You will learn each aspect of the card game Hearts, starting with the general mechanics, then getting into the specific rules for the game, and finishing with some strategy tips to help you win. The lesson will conclude with an example round of Hearts to highlight trick-taking, following suit, and the strategies that will help you win. A trick is created by each player playing a card into the middle. Once each player has added his card onto the middle, a trick is completed. Based on the cards played in the trick, one of the players will take the trick. To determine which of the players will take the trick, the players will need to know how the cards are ranked. Cards can have different ranks depending on the game being played. For this lesson, you will be learning how to play the card game Hearts. In Hearts, the cards are ranked with the aces being the highest and the twos being the lowest. In the trick that was just formed, the ace of clubs is the highest ranking card. Since player 4 was the one that played the ace on the trick, he will take the trick. Players will try to take tricks or avoid taking tricks depending on the game. Most trick-taking games have the rule of following the lead suit when possible. This means the suit of the first card played must be the suit of the card played by each other player if possible. When player 1 led the 2 of clubs, it forces each other player to also play a club-suited card if possible. If a player is unable to follow the lead suit, he is then able to play a different suited card. The player that just took the last trick will be the leader of the next trick. Player 4 will play the first card to start the next trick. The trick is started with a club-suited card. Players are required to follow suit by playing a club-suited card if possible. Player 3 does not have a club-suited card and cannot follow suit. He is now able to play another card. In the game of Hearts, a trick is won by the player with the highest ranking card in the lead suit. When player 3 was unable to follow the lead suit, he played the Queen of Spades. Although the Queen ranks higher than the 6, it does not win the trick. The trick is won by the player who played the highest ranking card in the lead suit. Player 2 would win this trick by playing the 6 of clubs. The card game Hearts can be played with 3 to 5 players. This lesson will cover how to play with 4 players. To play Hearts, you will need a standard 52-card deck. Each player is dealt 13 cards, 1 card at a time. The objective of the game is to score the least amount of points. Points are scored by taking tricks that include a heart-suited card or the Queen of Spades. There are 26 points in a round, 1 point for each heart-suited card, and 13 points for the Queen of Spades. Players will try to avoid taking tricks with these cards in them. Each round, a pass may occur depending on the round you are in. For the first hand, each player passes 3 cards to the player on his left. For the second hand, each player passes 3 cards to the player on his right. For the third hand, each player passes 3 cards to the player across from him. For the fourth hand, no cards are passed. This cycle continues to repeat throughout the game. Each player selects the cards they are going to pass. Because the players want to avoid taking tricks, they will pass the cards that are most likely to take tricks. This will be explained more in the strategy section of the lesson. This example is of the first hand of the game, so players will pass the cards to the left. Each round begins with the player holding the 2 of clubs playing it to start the first trick. Each player then follows suit by playing a club-suited card if possible. Once each player has played a card into the middle, the trick is complete. The winner of the trick is the player with the highest ranking card in the lead suit. For this trick, player 1 wins with the highest ranking ace of clubs. The player that takes the trick will lead the next trick. Player 1 leads the trick and each player follows suit. Player 4 takes this trick with the highest ranking card in the lead suit. Player 4 leads the next trick with the 3 of diamonds. Player 1 cannot follow suit and can play any card he wants. Player 1 gets rid of his high-ranking ace of hearts. Player 2 and player 3 have to follow the lead suit. Player 2 takes the trick with the highest ranking card in the lead suit. Player 2 leads the next trick and play continues until all cards have been played. Players receive 1 point for each heart taken, and the player that took the Queen of Spades receives 13 points. There is an exception. If a player takes every heart and the Queen of Spades, it is known as shooting the moon, and that player receives no points while all other 3 players receive 26 points. Once a player has 100 points or more, the game is over, and the player with the lowest score at that time is the winner. Each hand always begins with the 2 of clubs being played. No player can play a heart or the Queen of Spades on the first trick of the hand. If a player has no clubs on the first trick, he must play a diamond or a spade. A player cannot lead a trick with a heart until hearts have been broken. Hearts are broken when a player cannot follow the lead suit and plays a heart onto a trick. Remember the cards you passed. After the first pass, player 1 knows 3 cards that player 2 has in his hand. This knowledge will help player 1 determine what card to play in certain situations. You might think that by getting rid of all your cards in a suit will give you a better opportunity to discard during the round because you don't have to follow suit. The problem is you do not know what will be passed to you, and you may get stuck with only a high-ranking card in that suit. The lack of low-ranking cards is more dangerous than having high-ranking cards. Since it is likely that you will be passed high-ranking cards, you should keep all low-ranking cards to protect yourself. If you find yourself with high-ranking cards in a suit with few cards, play the odds when getting rid of it. Player 2 wins the first trick and leads the second trick with the high-ranking diamond. Player 2 is playing the odds that each other player has at least 1 diamond. You may take a few points early, but can avoid taking a lot of points later. Know where the Queen of Spades is. More often than not, the Queen of Spades is passed. Player 4 did not pass the Queen of Spades or receive it in the pass. Player 4 can assume that player 2 or player 3 has it. The game starts with 13 cards being dealt to each player 1 card at a time. Each player decides on the 3 cards to pass. The players decide to pass high-ranking cards to try and avoid taking tricks during gameplay. As the first hand of the game, the cards are passed to the left. Play begins with the 2 of clubs being played by player 2. Player 3 follows suit. Player 4 cannot follow suit. Since it is the first hand, player 4 is restricted from playing a point card. Player 1 follows suit and player 3 takes the trick with the highest ranking card. Player 3 leads the next trick with the 6 of spades. Each player follows suit and player 4 takes the trick with the highest ranking card. Player 4 leads the next trick with the 5 of spades. Each player follows suit, and player 2 takes the trick with the Queen of Spades. Player 2 leads the next trick with the 2 of diamonds. Each player follows suit, and player 3 takes the trick. Player 3 leads the next trick with the 3 of clubs. Player 4 is unable to follow suit and plays the Queen of Hearts. Hearts are now broken and can be led going forward. The rest of the hand goes as follows. At the end of the hand, player 1 has 7 hearts for 7 points, and player 2 has 6 hearts and the Queen of Spades for 19 points. Hearts can be played with 3 players by removing the 2 of diamonds and each player being dealt 17 cards. Hearts can be played with 5 players by removing the 2 of diamonds and the 2 of clubs and each player being dealt 10 cards. In 5-player, the 3 of clubs will lead the first trick. This wraps up Lesson 1. I would encourage you to play a few games of hearts to become familiar with the concepts of tricks and following suit. Lesson 2 will build on these concepts through the card game Whist. Thanks for watching.